In this lesson, I'm going to teach you 5 must-know scales which are essential to learn if you are new to jazz. I'm going to teach you how they're used in melodies and improvisation. So pick up your instrument and let's learn the 5 most essential jazz scales. Greetings jazz guitar gurus, my name is Jamie Holroyd. I am the founder of jamieholroydguitar.com, which is a blog, video lessons and podcast all geared to helping you become a better jazz guitar player. And if you haven't done so already, then please consider hitting that subscribe button below. That way you won't miss out any future jazz guitar lessons which I'm going to post here. So in today's class I'm going to teach you 5 must-know beginner jazz scales and how they're used in both melodies and improvisation. Make sure you stick around to the last one because the example probably isn't what you think it's going to be. So let's get into it. The first jazz scale that you need to know is the major scale. Everything that you learn in jazz is based off the major scale. You've got the harmonized major scale, modes, triads, chords, everything comes from that. So if anything, this is the most important of the 5 and one that you really need to know. So if you're a guitar player, I just suggest that you begin by learning this scale firstly with the root on the low E string. You can learn a 2-octave scale position. This is in the key of G, and then you can learn that same 2-octave position on the 5th string as well. Just to begin with, ultimately you want to learn this scale across the neck in all 12 keys, but you shouldn't have to do that to start making music with these scales. Just learn these 2 basic shapes first and then elaborate on those over time. And that's what you can do with each of these scales that we're going to look at. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to be showing you a melody example and an improv example as to how these are used. The melody example for the major scale is Ornithology by Charlie Parker, and that phrase sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's the melody example. The very first phrase of the song uses that, and as you can see there on the tab, that's straight out of the G major scale. So that's one example as to how you can use it, but many jazz standards use the major scale as a basis for the melody, and if you can make that connection to the scale that's being used and you've got a fingering that you can associate with that, it's going to help you remember and retain that melody over time rather than just thinking of it as being random numbers on the guitar neck. The improv example for the major scale sounds like this. So this is a real jazz cliche, but it's an important piece of language to know if you don't know it already. It's based off a G major 7 arpeggio which descends, and then we have some scaling movement towards the end, just going down the scale there. So that's the line which you can use from the G major scale. Once again, that does fit right in that 2-octave G major scale. So we've got a melody example and a line for the major scale. Let's move on to example number 2. Scale example number 2 is the harmonic minor scale. Many minor tunes use this for the melody, and many jazz players use this scale when improvising over a minor 2-5-1 progression. I am going to be giving you 2 fresh examples here like I did with the major scale, but if you want the full lesson on the harmonic minor scale, please check out the card in the video now, and that'll give you my full lowdown on the scale. So the melody example which I'm going to use here is the melody from Black Orpheus, but before I do that I should probably show you the scale quickly. So the scale which I'm going to be basing the melody and the line off is the 2-octave A harmonic minor scale that I'm just playing in the 5th position right there. Okay, so the melody example sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Played in a higher octave. that. So there, the key bit of harmonic minor scale for me is when it's going to that E7, the chords are A minor 7, 2, 5, back to A minor, and when you're on the 2, 5, you've got that G sharp, which kind of takes care of that E7, which is from the harmonic minor scale. You can see the entire first 4 bars of that melody as being from the A harmonic minor scale. Here's the line example that comes from the harmonic minor scale. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Once again, I've highlighted a key piece of jazz language here. 3, we're thinking over the E7, we're thinking 3, flat 9, root 7, drop into the 3rd of the A minor 7 chord there. All those notes come from the harmonic minor scale, which is why it's such a good scale to use on the minor 2-5-1. Scale number 3 is the Dorian mode, which is the second mode of the major scale, which is yet again another good reason why it pays off to learn the major scale. For this example, I'm going to be using a 2-octave D Dorian scale starting on the 5th fret of the A string. The scale sounds like this. The melody example that uses D Dorian is the classic So What by Miles Davis. Here's how the melody sounds. Hopefully you can see from that melody fits perfectly within that 2-octave D Dorian scale. All the notes from that come from that scale, so that melody is straight from that scale. Whether or not Miles Davis was thinking about that, I'm not entirely sure. Let me know if you know in the comment section below or not, but certainly from a theory and analysis point of view, that scale fits that melody like a glove. Here's a Dorian line that uses that same scale position. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course with that I'm using some quartal 4th voicings because I'm talking about the Dorian scale and Dorian applications, so it seems like a good reason to use those. If you'd like to know more about quartal or 4th chords, please check out the card for my 2-part lesson series on 4th jazz guitar chords. Example number 4 is the brother of the harmonic minor scale. It's the melodic minor scale. So for this example, we're in the key of G, and the scale fingering which I've written out here is a 2-octave G melodic minor scale. So the scale sounds like this. And like many of the other scales here, I have written or recorded a full video which explains everything you need to know about that scale. So if you want to learn more about the melodic minor scale, then check out the card in the video now to learn more about that. So the melody example which I've got for you right now is the Autumn Leaves melody. So for the melodic minor scale, I haven't actually found that many melodies that use that. I could only actually find one, and the one melody that I could find is Autumn Leaves. It's the very last part of the first time ending of Autumn Leaves, the part which sounds like this. So there the chords are D7 to G minor 7, and basically the G melodic minor is being used over the D7. You've got the 5th there, if you're thinking in terms of G minor here, the 5th, the 6th, there's your raised 7, and then your minor 3rd. So what makes that strong melodic minor reference is the fact that you've got an E natural rather than an E flat. If it was E flat, it would be G harmonic minor. So there's the one example that I could find of a melody that uses the melodic minor scale. Of course, if I have missed any, then please share any songs that I might have missed that use the melodic minor scale in the comment section below, please. Here's a phrase that uses the G melodic minor scale. a 1, 2, 3, 4. So that one's just a little repetitive pattern that goes throughout the scale. I'll play it a little bit slower. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Our final example is a minor pentatonic. Now I'm sure if you are a guitar player, then this is a most comfortable and familiar scale that we've grown up loving and playing and using in countless rock solos. So I'm going to give you one example as to how you can use this in a jazz melody, and one example as you can use it in a single line phrase. And like I said in the beginning, the single line phrase might catch you out by surprise. Anyway, the scale which I'm going to be using is the 2-octave B flat minor pentatonic scale, but we're going to go with the 6th fret fingering with the root on the low E string there in the key of B flat. So that's the one that we're using. The melody which uses the B flat minor pentatonic is called Sonny Moon for Two by Sonny Rollins. The melody sounds like this. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just the 4-bar phrase, but of course that 4-bar phrase is used throughout the entire song. So yet again, if you know the B flat minor pentatonic and you can associate that with the melody, then you're good to go, and it'll make it much easier, like I said with the first example, to remember that going forward in terms of months and years when you're learning other jazz tunes. So of course the B flat minor pentatonic scale naturally lends itself well to so much blues based language. However, one other use of this is in a more modern jazz situation, and what I've done here is I've written out kind of a more modern jazz lick that uses the B flat minor pentatonic scale, and that sounds like this. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit slower, the phrase sounds like this. So those are the 5 beginner jazz scales. Of course there's far more than that, there's loads of scales that you should know, but I feel that if you get a grip with these 5 scales, that's definitely going to put you in good stead going forward on your jazz journey. So what do you think of these scales? Have I missed any essential beginner jazz scales out? Please let me know in the comment section below if I have. Thank you for watching, and thank you once again to my Patreons who help make these lessons possible. If you would like to get the PDF for any of these examples that I've talked about, that is available at my Patreon page, which is listed and linked in the description below. Thank you for watching.